Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. We are so very excited to have all of you here with us this morning for our next installation of Community Conversations with the Partnership. I am Lamisha Staten. I am the Community Outreach Manager at the Partnership for Children. And as you know, our partnership is just one of 75 partnerships located across the state of North Carolina, providing wonderful services to children, from birth to age 5 all across our state to make sure that they're ready for kindergarten and their families are ready as they grow and develop. And so we're just so happy that all of you have joined with us this morning. Don't forget, if you know someone who wanted to watch today's program and weren't able to make it at 11 a.m., the video will be available on our Facebook page to share later. So feel free to share this with them and share the information. We're excited about today's topic, and we hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, are excited about the holiday season that we're in as well. And we wish each of you all of the best from the partnership. Today's topic is teaching self-soothing techniques for young children. And we are so grateful to have Ms. Christal McKoy of Sunrise-Amanacer Mental Health Services right here in Greensboro. I will tell you, she has just been such a joy to work with and to meet with. She has a very, very bright future, and she will tell you a little bit about herself in just a moment. But she has been working with the team there as she prepares for her future, and has some great information to share with us on calming strategies for children ages birth to 5, and ways that our parents can help their children learn to self-regulate as they grow and develop. So she'll talk more to us today, as you see, about self-regulation benefits and what that looks like in our children in our target age range of birth to 5. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Christal. Christal, we're just so grateful to have you and all of your expertise this morning.
Expertise. Thanks for having me. Hey, so as she stated, I'm currently interning at Sunrise-Amanacer, and this quarter at Northwestern, I was actually taking a child development course. And so when Amanda talked to me about having this conversation with y'all about self-regulation, self-soothing, it was just too perfect. It was right around the time I'm having the class, so it just made sense to a child development course do this. So let me see. Let's get started. So before we can really explore techniques for self-regulation or self-soothing, I just think it's important that we actually define what is self-soothing / self-regulation. And it's basically the ability for people to manage their emotions, manage their thoughts and behaviors. And it's possible at all stages of life. So like, through this presentation, we're gonna focus mainly on infancy and to middle childhood, but it's something that everyone can do. I do it. And with kids, it just encourages the child to resist their initial reaction and instead calm themselves. And it's just a valuable skill for children as they advance through development. So we're going to go through each stage specifically. So infants, which tends to be from birth to 1, and then toddlers, who are 1 to 3, and then early childhood, which would be like the ages 3 to 5. And I'll go through each one specifically, just what self-regulation might look like at that age, and then maybe how to take advantage of it. So next slide. So for infants, that's when, that's when skills are beginning to develop. This is where a lot of firsts happen, as you know, during development. The first smile or step, and just different ways of interacting with their surroundings, learning their surroundings. And so if infants want to learn self-soothe, or if parents want to teach infants self-soothing strategies, they're more likely to go back to sleep at night. So that would mean more sleep for the parents, if the child is able to just, okay, this means it's time to sleep, I'm gonna put myself back to sleep instead of, crying and so on and so forth. So at this stage, soothing normally involves the mouth and the face. So some examples might be like they're sucking their hands, or they're sucking on the pacifier, or when they're tired, they might rub their eyes and so on and so forth. So just thinking about like the sensory level, things like touch or movements are considered. And if a child did wake themselves up, they might rock their head from side to side or hold on to a blankie. And so when I was reading or talking about this in my class, they said it's important to have something that a parent would identify as, okay, this is when you go to sleep. So maybe having like a specific blankie or specific pacifier or something that's like, this means you're sleeping. You're going back to sleep now. And that would just be something that they maybe become conscious of, that whenever I have this, I think mom and dad or my caregiver wants me to go back to sleep. Next slide. And then during the toddler stage. So this is when development continues. They're continuing a lot of firsts. They're such as crawling, maybe taking their first steps. You start hearing the first words now, like that's when, are they gonna say mama or dada first? They become more aware of their surroundings, and they begin to explore new things, new objects. So the self-soothing strategies may change a little, but routine is important, especially when considering sleep and bedtime. So if you have a set like sleep and bedtime, it's just an automatic thing, because like I think about when I'm working and so on and so forth, if I'm going to bed by 10 every night, it just becomes regulated. Even when I don't even need to wake up, I'm still waking up because it's about that routine. So routines and schedules support the toddler's self-regulation. And doing things like lowering lights or playing soft music can help a child know, hey, it's time for bed. It's time to go to sleep. And this is also an important stage to incorporate play. So play can include toys or reading stories, but consistently, the consistency helps the child know what to expect each day. So with a schedule, it's like, okay, oh, I'm yawning because I know around this time I'd normally go to sleep. I'm more energetic at this time because I know it's time to play, and so on and so forth. So the routines and the schedule and the consistency is so important. Next slide.
So I have just a quick question. I know a lot of our parents that are watching, and because of the pandemic and what we've been in, for so many, it's been so hard to keep a routine, or maybe the routine that was set before has been disrupted now because, with the change in school schedules and work schedules and just home schedules. How would you suggest parents to um, reintroduce the sense of, okay, we have a routine, even if we, have to jump off a little bit and come back, that it's okay, we're going to make it through it. What would you suggest to parents that are trying to just, figure out how to keep a routine going during the pandemic?
That is so valid. So I know, like you said, the routine might change, but I think it's just about creating a new routine in the current state that they're in. So I know my nephew and she's working from home and he's taking classes from home, but they've created a routine where they have it set. You create that schedule in your home, so they have it where you wake up at a certain time to make sure you have breakfast together. You go to class, I go to the little corner for work, the little desk area that I created now, and then we have lunch together. So you create that routine for in home now, since it's different, but you could still create your very own routine. What works for you guys? in your homes. So
Right. So just doing what matters to the family, and not comparing your family to someone else. That each routine is going to look different as families move forward. Um,
exactly, what's realistic for you?
what's
Because what's
realistic?
realistic for you might not be what the same for someone else, because it depends on maybe how many people are in the home and so on and so forth. So you just working through, that's why I say the routine for you, what routine works for you. So in early childhood, this is the more development happening, of course. So the ability to maybe identify colors and shapes and show affection maybe, and slowly become more independent is all happening. So I think a lot of kids at this time maybe be going daycare. I know for my niece, like she's going daycare, and that's when some of the with the whole colors and shapes and all that is happening. The child will also begin to evaluate play and other social interactions. One aspect of social interaction is taking advantage of the self-soothing slash self-regulation at school. But we know that's not happening right now. But still, when it was normal, children need a level of alertness to learn, and self-regulation gets them ready to focus and listen. So maybe using toys, chewing gum, if you're okay with your child doing so. Just common repetitive motions has been seen as effective. Several weeks ago, actually, at my practicum site, we made sensory jars, and they actually made a YouTube video about creating these sensory jars. And my supervisor, Amanda, told us about how she creates sensory jars at home for her babies or her children, where whenever they're in timeout or anything like that, she give them the jar and like flip it upside down and watch all the sparkles fall, and then flip, and it's just soothing for them. Yes, they might be in trouble in that timeout, but actually soothing them while they're there, just having some type of repetitive motion where you're moving the things around. So it was quite easy making these jars as well. So there's plenty of DIY videos and so on, and creating things like that to help with self-regulation. And the next slide. So with a lot of homes being affected by the current pandemic, kids are staying at home from school and daycare, or parents are working remotely, it is still possible to practice the self-regulation. Like I previously said, making a routine for you. So I wanted to focus on two main points. So 2 pointers or helpful practices to use or consider during COVID. First is trying to keep routine. I think it's easy to disregard bedtimes and everyday routines because families are finding themselves not leaving home. So you're in the home constantly all day, every day. So it's just like, do I even want to get up? Do I even want to change? Do I even want to, like, do you want to do all the things? And it's important to do all the things. So routines help with creating or keeping structure. Maybe have it set that everyone in the household get up at a certain time. Like if it's past 10 a.m., everyone is up. You're doing something. Just to, even if we're all home, we're not going anywhere, maybe going a walk. But having it like things like that where it's set, everyone have to be up by 10. Or having meals at a certain time and so forth. Like if they know, okay, be up by 10, or have breakfast before 10, lunch is around noon, and we know by 6, 5, we're having dinner, we go on a walk together after that. Just having little things like that to just help with that structure and routine. And like I said previously, it depends on the family and what works for you. Another point is it is important that people keep a social distance, but children need quality time with their caregivers. This means that caregivers should find ways to have interactions with the little ones in their homes. Um, some examples are, but not limited to, are painting, coloring, fun activities, or interactive activities. I know with my nephew, like he's come over several times, and I have a lot of watercolor and so on and so forth, and I'll draw something and he'll paint it. Or we might sit there and watch a movie and eat popcorn. But it's those interactions that are so important, because they might not be interacting with people. It's just you at your computer desk and him in this computer way of learning. And I know for my nephew, he loves interacting, so he's just like, can we do this or this and this, because I don't see my friends anymore. So it's still important to have those interactions, and um, it just encourages the social connection while keeping the distance from the outside world. So,
And
yeah.
Crystal, you just brought up a wonderful point about that although, of course, we are encouraging our families to social distance and, do the three W's, the wear, wait, and wash, and all of that to stay safe, that at the same time, our children still need that interaction, as you said, with their caregivers.
Right.
So I think that's a very important point, that and that being parent or whomever is in the home, setting aside time to do activities, to keep up with those things at home where you're all safe, keeping that type of routine and introducing some things at home. COVID has been hard on all of us. Has just thrown a whole lot of monkey wrenches in the mix, but at the same time, I feel like it's taught a lot of our parents, it's taught a lot of us as families how to, taught us some new things that we can do at home and just share as a family. But you just sharing that interaction between the family and the child, the parent and the child, or the caregiver and the child, is still essential
It
and
is.
still important. And I think that's a really good point to bring across, because this has been so hard on the children, and how having to do class for many of them through Zoom or other virtual platforms has been hard on us as the adults. But just imagine, right, from the child's perspective, how tough this has been for them.
And I would encourage parents, even if like you don't have any activities in mind, talk to them. One of my assignments was to talk to a child, and one of the questions was like, how has COVID affected how you feel? And it's a simple question, but you'd be surprised. The answer is like, I feel like I don't see my friends anymore. I'm happy I have a dog where I'm able to interact with them, but mommy is always on the computer and she's always working, and so on and so forth. And it's just that conversation. Just having that conversation makes them like, yes, I am interested in what's going on for you. And even if you're doing like in the routine things, have them help you make the sandwich that you're making for lunch. Have them do some of the safe things that they could do, but still help. Like, oh, I'm putting in the grapes and the strawberries. You just made a fruit salad. Like, like something simple, but it's still like having that interaction. Yes, having the social distance outside of the home, but the isolation is not needed.
Absolutely. These are all great pointers, and you shared some wonderful information with us today. So we just hope our parents, that any of our viewers that are watching, that you will share this video, share these ideas and tips that were shared today by Crystal. We certainly appreciate all that you have provided with us today. And these are just good reminders for us to remember that, the importance of the relationship with our children is still important. And that, not only are we caring for them physically, but we're caring for them mentally. We're caring for them as they're still developing, they're still growing, and just being that support for them. And just remember, as you have here on the screen, healthy routines, keeping those while maintaining social distance And remembering that with a lot of our children, they have felt isolated. A lot of our families have felt isolated. A lot of us have felt isolated at times. So having that connection is still important and again, still essential. Crystal, we appreciate all that you share with us today. Are there any just lasting comments that you want to share with any families that might be watching before we close out?
I can't think of any. I know I kind of ran through these. I didn't want them to be too lengthy, but also being able to still help in like the all age groups as and how they would use self-soothing differently.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you for your time and we thank all of you, our viewers that have watched with us today. We hope that you will join us back right here on Facebook Live this Friday at 11 o'clock. Our guests will be Kinder Music and they will be sharing some wonderful activities for families in their free app that you can download to share activities at home, just like Crystal has shared today, talking about the importance of that. So, as a follow up, we'll have Kinder Music to share some things that you can do with your children at home to keep those healthy routines going. So, Crystal, we thank you. This was a good segue to the next conversation on Friday. So, we appreciate you and we
Thank you
hope you
for
all
having
have a
me.
wonderful day. Thank you, Crystal.
Thanks for having me.